நினைந்து நினைந்து என் உள்ளம் பரவசம் மிகவாகுதே. பால்வடியும் முகம் நினைந்து நினைந்து என் உள்ளம் பரவசம் மிகவாகுதே. கண்ணா பால்வடியும் முகம் நினைந்து நினைந்து என் உள்ளம் பரவசம் மிகவாகுதே. நீலக்கடல் போலும் நிறத்தழகா, நீலக்கடல் போலும் நிறத்தழகா, நீலக்கடல் போலும் நிறத்தழகா. கண்ணா எந்த நெஞ்சம் குடி கொண்டு அன்று முதல் இன்றும் எந்த பொருள் கண்டும் செய்யாதொழிய, எந்த நெஞ்சம் குடி கொண்டு அன்று முதல் இன்றும் எந்த பொருள் கண்டும் செய்யாதொழிய, பால்வடியும் முகம் நினைந்து நினைந்து என் உள்ளம் பரவசம் மிகவாகுதே. வான்முகட்டில் சற்று மனம் வந்து நோக்கினும் மோனமுகம் வந்து தோணுதே. வான்முகட்டில் சற்று மனம் வந்து நோக்கினும் உன் மோனமுகம் வந்து தோணுதே. தெளிவான தண்ணீர் தடத்தில் சிந்தனை மாறி உன் சிரித்த முகம் வந்து காணுதே. தெளிவான தண்ணீர் தடத்தில் சிந்தனை மாறி உன் சிரித்த முகம் வந்து காணுதே. கான குரலில் கருத்தமைந்திடினும், கான குயில் கரலில் கருத்தமைந்திடினும், கான குழலோசை மயக்குதே, கான குழலோசை மயக்குதே. பால்வடியும் முகம் நினைந்து நினைந்து என் உள்ளம் பரவசம் ஆகுதே. கருத்த குழலோடு நிறுத்த மயில் சிறகு இறுக்கி அமைத்த இடத்திலே, கருத்த குழலோடு நிறுத்த மயில் சிறகு இறுக்கி அமைத்த திறத்திலே, கான மயிலாடும் மோன குயில் பாடும் நீல நதி ஓடும் வனத்திலே, கான மயிலாடும் மோன குயில் பாடும் நீல நதி ஓடும் வனத்திலே. குழல் முதல் எழில் இசை குலைய வரும் இசையின் குழலோடு மிளிரிய கரத்திலே, குழல் முதல் எழில் இசை குலைய வரும் இசையின் குழலோடு மிளிரிய கரத்திலே, கதிரும் மதியும் என நயன விழிகளிரு நளினமான சலனத்திலே, கதிரும் மதியும் என நயன விழிகளிரு நளினமான சலனத்திலே, காளிங்கன் சிரத்திலே கதித்த பதத்திலே என் மனத்தை இருத்தி கனவு நனவிகளோடு பிறவி பிறவிதோறும் கனித்துருக வரம் தருக வரம் கருணை. பால்வடியும் முகம் நினைந்து நினைந்து என் உள்ளம் பரவசம் மிகவாகுதே. பால்வடியும் முகம் நினைந்து நினைந்து என் உள்ளம் பரவசம் மிகவாகுதே. கண்ணா கண்ணா கண்ணா.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, your voice has suddenly become feeble, Mataji. Can you just be a little louder?
Now?
Yes, Mataji, now fine.
Okay. Recalling the innocent silken baby face of Krishna, my heart gets enchanted. Krishna, you have the beautiful blue hue like that of the ocean. Ever since you occupied my heart, till now I can't pay attention to anything else other than you. Even when my mind looks at the sky in the horizon, only your face occupies my mental screen. When I think about the crystal clear pond, your smiling face is the one which blocks the pond's view. When I try to concentrate on the melody of the singing cuckoo, I only hear your melodious flute play. You are wearing a blue peacock feather on your black locks of hair. You wander in the verdant forest where the peacock dances, the koel sings, and the blue river meanders. You hold the flute in your hand and generate beautiful music from it. Your two eyes oscillate gently with the brilliance of the sun and the moon. When you danced on the head of Kalinga, the snake in the Yamuna river, I lost myself in that sight, and in my dreams as well as waking time, I want to be thinking about it in repeated bursts. Please grant me that wish with your immense compassion. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol Mataji, Danvat Pranams. Thank you for that wonderful question, Mataji. So nice. Very beautiful. So, we'll start with our Mangalacharan. Who would like to do Mangalacharan today? Hare Krishna.
Mataji, may I do?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Go ahead, Prabhuji.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Anjanadinirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Sakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Kavidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Robhagada Mayam Tadadi Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yudapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamcha Sri Rupam Sakrajadam Sakagana Raghunadan Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaidam Sabatudam Parijana Sagidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sakagana Lalita Sri Visakan Vidam Cha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Yidhi Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Bhacharya Deshadharini Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Bhratayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Guruve Dvaisha Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namastude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Vrindavaneshwari Vrisabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayeva Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda He Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Danvat Pranams. So beautiful. Okay, so let's begin our class. So, today, which chapter are we going to start?
Eighth one.
Chapter
Hari
8.
Bol.
Chapter 8.
Hari Bol. Chapter 8, and it's the last chapter of our book as well. So, we are starting chapter 8 today, and chapter 8 is called The Last Instruction. Right? So, that's what we're going to start today. What was the chapter we finished yesterday? Chapter 7's name?
United two
Uniting
words.
two worlds.
Hari Bol, uniting two words. Okay. So, who would like to summarize it quickly? Just the main points of
Mataji,
what
could I
you.
summarize?
Yes, Prabhuji. Just cover it, the main points alone, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Three people worked from Georgetown University, Harvard University, Cornell University from outside of the India, and one Indian Gyanpur postgraduate college professor, also emeritus professor, given some credit to the Prabhupada's write-ups. And the write-ups about Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and then whatever the clarity of his purpose, and which will go to the common man, and which will easily understood by the those who are reading, and that way they given credit, appreciation. And then the narration moved to the Ratha Yatra, which will going to happen in Manhattan, the place, and Grand Army, someplace Grand, place name is Grand Army. So from the Grand Army to 50th Street and downtown place, and normally this some old remembrance done by the Prabhupada, and I have came to New York and I roam around here and there from 2 years, and I stayed at Bowery Street, and my computer was stolen nearby that one name I forgot. But that remembrance shared to Tamala Krishna Swami, and they observed, and during the procession now when I came, I just made some what you call 25 to 100 square feet place for making the temple, but I was unable to, because I don't have money to brought that place. Now I have 600 disciples with me and chanting Hare Krishna, and 350 feet height of the cart, and that was moved uh, in the Radha Yatra, and that was very nice, and people are chanting, and from the 34th street, Prabhupada joined. So they go to up to 55th street, and the main important thing is Radha gone smoothly, and whatever the remembrance served by Sri Srila Prabhupada, and that was very nice, and people are devotees asked some questions, and seven prasadam shared to 7,000, more than 7,000 people. After that, some remembrance done, because for making that place, the TV captured that time, and some people given interview, and some magazine given. See, at the Fifth Avenue, where east meets west meets west. So Prabhupada explained, because lame man with the blind man, lame man meets the blind man, and Indian culture and American money and good save the world. That way, Prabhupada concluded for that published material. And after that, for the next year, Ratha Yatra, they planned devotees. And Prabhupada told one, we need to rent a small building down at downtown for Jagannath stay for 1 week. After that, he moved to temple in the 55th state. That way, we should plan for next year. And then the regarding the Washington Square Park, and how much important, and how the spiritual life achieved for the Americans at the Washington Square Park, and even Prabhupada made some quotes, because more than 50 years this Washington Square Park founded there, and even the mayor doesn't build a temple, but that time only Krishna and the mercy of Krishna and mercy of Guru, only these possible things happen. And then Prabhupada health was deteriorated, and nobody can bound my things when the ticket was ready for plane ticket for moving to roam around the places. And all people telling, please don't go, please take rest, like that. But Prabhupada doesn't accept that things. But he told one thing, I want the benediction to go on lighting for Krishna up to the last breath. That assurance given by Prabhupada, and I will be act like Arjuna. So all people remain silent, And Prabhupada walked to his car. That way we concluded, Mataji.
Haribol Prabhuji, so beautiful. Really appreciate the efforts you take, Prabhuji, to kind of go through, come and summarize it so beautifully in every class. I would request others also to please try this, read and come and share at least 2-3 points or 1 or 2 points in every class. So that will be so nice. Like how Muthumanikam Prabhuji is doing now. Wonderful. So happy to hear this. Haribol to you, Muthumanikam Prabhuji, once again. Okay, so we will. Yeah, Lakshmi Mataji is also saying a big Haribol to you, Muthumanikam Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Okay, so we will begin our last chapter, which is chapter 8 today, last instruction. So, yeah, Valli Mataji, would you like to start first, Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Mataji, ask Lakshmi Mataji whether she want to read first.
But fine, Mataji, you can start and then she'll do, Mataji, no problem.
Okay.
You read,
The,
Mataji.
the last instruction. Bombay, January 9, 1977. Srila Prabhupada started his morning walk before dawn. He and the devotees knew their way well through the Hare Krishna and land to the public road. And once of the property, they turned left and then right and began walking down the block leading to the beach. The sky began to lighten. At first, they could not visibly distinguish land from sea from sky, but gradually subtle nuances of color revealed the horizon, and they could see the vast plain of the Arabian Sea stretching to meet an even greater sea of the sky, wherever last star twinkled and faded. As Prabhupada and his small group walked along the broad beach, they were flanked on their left by a line of leaning palms on their right by a rumbling surf. Srila Prabhupada wore a grey woolen cadre around his sadar around his
Sadar.
shoulders. Sadar around his shoulders, a saffron silk kurta and dhoti, and peach-colored canvas shoes. He used a cane, leaning not heavily on it but lightly. With each brisk step, he would point his cane ahead, poking it into the sand and lifting it again, rhythmically marking the pace. He walked erectly and held his head high. A long line of Bombaytis, many of them wealthy Juhu residents on their morning stroll, appeared, and few coconut wallas set up their carts, cutting off the tops of choice coconuts in anticipation of their first customers. Srila Prabhupada liked to walk at this time of morning, and weather permitting, he would do so no matter where he was in the world. Juhu Beach, however, was one of his favorite places to walk. Along the way, he and his disciples were joined by Dr. Patel in white shirt and pants, several of his friends, mostly doctors and lawyers. Hare Krishna. Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat pranams. Thank you so much. Lakshmi Mataji, you can continue, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Suddenly Prabhupada spoke. There's a very big conspiracy against us. By the church, guessed Dr. Patel. Not by the church, said Prabhupada. By the society, Prabhupada uttered a thoughtful then added, now they are determined to cut down this movement. He didn't give any details, and neither Dr. Patel nor the others could fully draw out what was on his mind. Whatever it was, said Dr. Patel, no conspiracy against Krishna consciousness could take place in India. I wanted to start this movement in India, Prabhupada replied. I requested so many friends, give me just one son, but nobody agreed. They said, Swamiji, what will be the benefit by this if I make my son a Vaishnava or a Brahmana? They do not give much importance to the movement. They are planning how to stop this movement in so many ways. Always a faithful Indophile, Dr. Patel replied, the Americans are always like that, always making propaganda. There is good and bad in every place, said Prabhupada. Krishna says, Manushyanam Sahasreshu. Out of thousands of persons, hardly anyone is interested in perfecting his life. This is Kali Yuga. About 5 minutes before 7, Srila Prabhupada left the beach and walked back to Hare Krishna land. As he approached, he saw the massive towers of ISKCON Hotel and the even taller and grander temple domes. The buildings were unfinished, but most of the construction had been done. The temple dome still had to be covered with marble, and all the buildings needed numerous finishing touches. Prabhupada was anticipating the opening, but the construction head, Surabhi Maharaja, spoke of delays. The opening date, therefore, remained indefinite. Prabhupada had had trouble ever since he had first tried to purchase a land from Mr. N in 1971, and obstacles had plagued all his attempts for permission to build. Now, the triumph of installing the deities Radha Ras Vihari is one of the most gorgeous temples in all of India, was near. Srila Prabhupada was continuing his worldwide travels and pushing his movements ahead on all fronts. Yet he regularly returned to Bombay. He could see when the workers were delaying, and he understood that they were sometimes cheating, although his own men weren't always aware. This time, as before, he would stay for a while, give advice, and then move on. Thank you, Mataji. Then with pranams. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So beautiful. Okay. So next, Ekambar Prabhuji, would you like to read Hare Krishna?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Radha Dasvihari were still being worshipped in the temporary shelter the devotees had erected in 1971. The magnificent temple building now loomed behind that humble shed, proclaiming that soon Rasvihari would move into his new palace. On returning to the ISKCON property, Srila Prabhupada came before the deities and beheld once again their charming beauty that made him sometimes indicate that of all deities, these were the these were the dearest to him. He promised to Radha Rasvihari that he would build them a beautiful temple and was soon to become a living reality. But he was now 81 and was bothered by certain persistent illnesses. Of course, the warnings of death were nothing new to Srila Prabhupada, as he had serious bouts with illness from the beginning of his preaching in the West in 1965. Yet, despite his frequent remarks about retiring, his disciples found it difficult to imagine. Yes, they should by all means complete the work as soon as possible and open the Bombay temple. And yes, they should assure Prabhupada that he could retire and eventually complete his Srimad Bhagavatam. But of course, Krishna would allow him to remain with them and see the completion of at least two of these two projects. Each month, one of Srila Prabhupada's GBC men stayed with him to serve as his secretary and to receive direct training and personal association. The secretary for January 1977 was Rameswara Swami. Prabhupada was genuinely pleased and enlivened. Then, early in the morning, Rameswara entered his room, having flown straight from his Los Angeles to Bombay. Prabhupada considered Rameswara as an expert ISKCON manager, especially in printing and distributing Krishna conscious literature, which was Prabhupada's priority in preaching. When Srila Prabhupada asked Rameswara Swami for news, he reported how the Krishna conscious movement was being attacked in America. Srila Prabhupada was already aware of this, and it was in fact that conspiracy he had revealed to on his morning walk. An, an anti-cult movement was now aggressively active and lumping the Hare Krishna movement in with other movements. Srila Prabhupada was well aware of the deprogrammer's activities, kidnapping of devotees and intensively coercing them, and he had shown that he was not afraid of it. He assured the devotees that Krishna would protect them and that the outcome would ultimately be in their favor. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams. Thank you so much. Muthumanikam Prabhuji, would you like to read next, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
The
Prabhuji.
most significant battle, one that had concerned Srila Prabhupada for several months, was a legal case in New York, where the temple president Adi Kesava Swami was being charged with employing mind control to keep the devotees in the temple. The parents of two adult devotees had pressed charges after hired deprogrammers had failed to break the two devotees' determination for Krishna consciousness. In a spirit of anti-cult crusade, an assistant attorney general was prosecuting using all the legal and governmental facilities at his disposal. Although civil librarians were outraged and
Liberty.
libertarians were outraged and assured the devotees that the opposition would never win. The implications of the case were fearful nevertheless. The case challenged the very right from the Hare Krishna movement to exist as a bona fide religion and challenged the right of adult devotees to remain in the movement against the wishes of their parents. Also at issue was whether members of the Hare Krishna movement were members by their own choosing or were being kept in the movement by psychological manipulation, that is brainwashing. When Srila Prabhupada first heard of this case, his reply in a letter from Vrindavana had been like a clarion call to battle against the forces of illusion. Regarding the point about whether our movement is bona fide, you can use the following arguments. Bhagavad Gita has got so many editions. Our books are older than the Bible. In India, there are millions of Krishna temples. Let the judges and juries read our books and take the opinion of learned scholars and professors. Regarding the second point about the parents' jurisdictions over their children, here are some suggestions. Do the parents like that their children become hippies? Why don't they stop it? Do the parents like their children to become involved in prostitution or intoxication? Why don't they stop this? They are now feeling the weight of this movement. Formerly, they thought these people come and go, but now they see we are staying. Now we have a set fire. It will go on. It cannot be stopped. You can bring big fire brigades, but the fire will act. The brainwash books are already there. Even if they stop externally, internally it will go on. Our first class campaign is book distribution. Go house to house. The real fighting is now. Krishna will give you all protection. So chant Hare Krishna and fight. Sitting
Hare
with the
Krishna,
Srila
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mother.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams. Very nice. Pushpa Mataji, would you like to read next, Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat pranams.
Sitting with Srila Prabhupada in Bombay, Rameshwara Swami informed him that a nationwide committee of professors and theologians had come to the defense of Krishna consciousness in the New York case, and that many lawyers and psychologists were sympathetic. Prabhupada explained that the greatest shock for the materialists was that the Krishna consciousness movement strongly opposed illicit sex, meat eating, and intoxication. To them, for a person to give up these things was so shocking that they could not accept it was happening because of a genuine spiritual experience. Referring to a previous case, Srila Prabhupada said, in Germany, they were also accused that the old man is sitting in Los Angeles and he has engaged all these young boys in collecting money for him. They are thinking that way, that I had some mind control power and I have engaged these men. They are getting money and I am enjoying. Srila Prabhupada recalled how, as early as 1969, when his temple in Los Angeles had purchased a few cars and number of devotees had begun increasing, the neighbors had become envious. Prabhupada said that he had invited them to also come and live in the Krishna consciousness community, but that their reply had always been no. Prabhupada said that more the opposition created a turmoil, the more Krishna consciousness would become famous. He also reasoned that people were reacting to his very strong preaching. You do not understand how to face the opposing party. Srila Prabhupada explained. He was in an animated, argumentative mood, enthusiastic to show his disciple how to defeat the opposition. He said sometimes describe his own spiritual master as Simha, lion guru. Hare Krishna Mataji. And they now show him in his familiar fighting spirit. The more opposition there will be, he said, the more we have to defend.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Danvat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Krishnadas Prabhuji, would you like to read next? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In regard to, in regard to brainwashing, said Rameshwara, they claim that our lifestyle tends to take the devotee and isolate him from the world. Yes, said Prabhupada, we hate to mix with you. No gentleman tries to mix with loafers. Crows will not like to live with the ducks and white swans will not like to live with crows. That is a natural division. Birds of the same feather flock together. Rameshwara. They have a list of 5 or 6 conditions and they say if all these conditions are present, then it is a suitable atmosphere for brainwashing. They say we are imposing these conditions on our members. Prabhupada. Yes, we are brainwashing from bad to good. That is our business. We are washing the brain from all rascaldom. Your brain is filled up with all rubbish things, meat eating, illicit sex, gambling. So we are washing them. Don't you cleanse your room? Is that bad? So if you wash your room very clean, who blames you? But you are so rascal that you change us. Why are you washing away this garbage? We are washing out the garbage and you are protesting. This is your intelligence. But intelligent men wash away the garbage. That is the law of civilization to cleanse that we are doing. According to Vedic civilization, you are actually untouchable. Now we have come to touch you. Therefore, wash first. You must wash. According to Indian civilization, the dog is untouchable, but he is your best friend. So you are not touchable. Therefore, we have to wash your brain. Unless your brain is washed, you cannot understand Krishna. Man is known by his company. You sleep with dog, you eat with dog, your best friend is dog. So what you are, you must be washed, scrubbed. Rameshwara. But this is their argument that the standard in America is that you become learned in different fields science, music, art, and literature. This standard of culture and education is coming from the idea of the Renaissance in Europe. But in our Hare Krishna movement, we are isolating ourselves from these things and simply reading one set of literature, Krishna. Prabhupada. This other is not culture. As soon as you change, that means it is not culture. It is manodharma, mental concoction. Yes, we want to stop your nonsense. That is our mission. Those who are intelligent They have taken and you also take. Rameshwara. They say that if we claim our members are gentlemen, then why is it that they go to the airport and bother so many people? Prabhupada. They are not bothering, they are educating. When a thief is advised, kindly do not become a thief, he takes it as a botheration, but it is good advice. Rameshwara. They say it is invasion of privacy. Every man has the right to think the way he wants. Prabhupada. Yes, therefore I have got the right to think like this and to sell books. Rameshwara. So if I do not want to hear your philosophy, why do you impose it? Prabhupada. It is not imposing, it is good philosophy. We are canvassing. Take it, you will be benefited. And they are being benefited. Those who are reading, they are being benefited. And why are you advertising? Big, big signboards. Please come and purchase. Why are you imposing your so-called goodness on us? Why are you doing? Back and forth the battle went. Hour after hour, Rameshwara unleashing all the arguments against the Krishna consciousness movement and Srila Prabhupada defeating them. Prabhupada called the arguments childish and foolish, and he strongly criticized the materialistic demeanor from which they sprang. By Shastra and logic, he proved that the non devotee has no good qualities and is less than an animal because of his lack of God consciousness. Such a person, he said, was in no position to criticize, and his criticism only showed ignorance of the real purpose of human life. Prabhupada was observed in defending the Krishna consciousness movement. He relished fighting on behalf of Lord Chaitanya. He was speaking, of course, mainly for the benefit of his disciples. But beyond that, he was expressing his compassion for all beings and his dedication to the Krishna consciousness movement. Rameshwara. But the Christians say that according to the Bible, if God wanted us to believe in Krishna, he would have told us on Mount Sinai and he would have told us through Jesus Christ. Jesus said, I am the only way.
Hare Krishna,
Prabhupada.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
Pramas, Prabhuji. Thank you
Dandavat
so much.
Pranam Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Valli Mataji, would you like to read next? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada. That's all right. But Jesus Christ did not explain more to you because you are rascals. You cannot follow even his one instruction, thou shalt not kill. It is not the foolishness of Jesus Christ, because you are so rascal, you cannot understand him. Therefore, he avoided you rascals, because whatever he said, you cannot follow. So, what you will understand, therefore, he stopped speaking. Rameshwara, I think we have used up all our arguments. Actually, Srila Prabhupada concluded their arguments are not very sound. Therefore, it is simply a plan of Krishna to help give us some prominence. It will make us more well known. Opposition, he said, was just an opportunity to preach. But to deal properly with the legal cases and other serious opposition, the devotees would have to know how to preach, and they would have to spiritually strong. He was he was readying his men, speaking to them day and night. Bhuvaneshwar, January 1977. After 1 month, another of Srila Prabhupada's GBC men, Satsvarupa Dasa Goswami, replaced Rameswara Swami as Prabhupada's secretary for the month. Srila Prabhupada, Satsvarupa asked one evening while sitting with Prabhupada in his quarters. When I first came here, Rameshwara Maharaja said that you had been speaking of how Krishna consciousness would rise to power in the United States, and I find it hard to have that vision since now it is just the opposite. It's true, said Srila Prabhupada, but now it has only taken its roots. You have to water and protect it, then you will get fruit. You have to give it protection. People must hear about us by our books, and we have to talk about the books. So it is not that it will happen overnight. No, said Srila Prabhupada. Gradually it will grow. The seed is there. now protect it by introducing more and more books in every house. Again, Prabhupada referred to the upcoming New York court case. At least tell them to read our books, he said. This is our statement.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanvat Pranams.
Tanvat Pranams.
Lakshmi Mataji, would you like to read next? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Our defense is that you first of all read these books and then give your statement. Finish this and then give your judgment. Give them all these 84 books. Srila Prabhupada became excited by the thought of the judges and lawyers reading all his books. He was completely serious and he insisted the devotees get the authorities to read the books as legal evidence. Srila Prabhupada continued, Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya, surrender to me and give up all other religion. Now the question may arise, why we shall surrender? Then you can argue and go on for 3 years. The whole thing will come out. What is God? What is creation? What is your position? Why you should surrender, and so on and so on and so on. What do you think? Yes, we should introduce the books as much as possible, said Satswarupa. I will write a letter to New York and tell them to emphasize this. Bring all these books in the court, Prabhupada said. One time in Calcutta, there was a big lawyer named Mr. Ghosh. So, on one case, he brought so many books for argument. These judges were friends, so they very mildly criticized him. Oh, Mr. Ghosh, you have brought the whole library. Yes, my lord, said Mr. Ghosh, just to teach you law. Srila Prabhupada laughed and repeated, Yes, my lord, just to teach you law. Prabhupada wanted his disciples to apply the same logic in the New York case. If the judge objected and said, Why have you brought so many books to bother me? The devotees should reply, You have to hear. It may take 12 years to hear, but you have to hear. This is the law. It sounded difficult, but the devotees knew they would have to try. This was Srila Prabhupada's specific instruction for handling the case. We have to say, said Prabhupada, we never try to brainwash. We have done exactly according to Shastra authority. Here is the evidence. We have not manufactured anything, so they must read all the books. I think you should take defense in that way. Our defense statement is already written there in the books. Said Hari sorry. Certain sections asked Satswarupa, or should we say that they have to read all the books? Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Dhanvat Pranams. Ekambar Prabhuji, would you like to read next? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Yes. Prabhupada shouted, all line to line. Our defense is 84 volumes. But they will say, said Guru Kripa Swami, if we read all these books, we will become brainwashed too. That is my duty, said Prabhupada. You are trying to brainwash me, and I am trying to brainwash you. This is going on. That is the tunnel. It is wrestling. You are trying to your strength, and I am trying my strength. Otherwise, there, there is where is their fight? You have got the right not to agree with me. I have got right to not agree with you. Now let us settle. Mayapur, February 1977. More than 80 Bengali Gurukula boys, along with some 100 other devotees, greeted Prabhupada with a kirtana at the front gate of the Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir. The entire ISKCON land seemed to be blooming with flowers, and the freshly painted temple building shone like the first reddish rays of dawn. The new building, a long residential building, was almost completed. Back to home, back to God, Prabhupada said softly as his car entered the gate and slowly proceeded toward the temple. Later, while sitting in his room on the second floor, Srila Prabhupada complimented the devotees for making the grounds so beautiful and clean. Hundreds of flowers decorated his room like a gorgeous garden. These flowers are even first success, and Prabhupada. He sat back, relaxed with the special pleasure and satisfaction he felt when in the atmosphere of the Mayapur. But Krishna's service is wisdom into the plant, and he is very good. We want some flowers for Krishna's service, and Krishna is supplying everything we want for Krishna, not for our self gratification. For Krishna, we can endure multifariously. That is the contribution of Bhakti Vedanta, Siddhanta Saraswati. Later, Srila Prabhupada went down to see new building, the longest building in West Bengal. There, Pataka Swami said, more than 700 feet. Srila Prabhupada said, it looked like a paint. He inspected all the rooms one by one, and encouraged that they must be ready in time for the festival. Walking along the veranda, he remarked, oh, it is just like Fifth Avenue.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Danvat pranams. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Pushpa Mataji, would you like to read next? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Matai. The next few days were quiet. Prabhupada would sit taking his massage in the late morning on the roof amid hundreds of potted plants. Leaning on the rail of the veranda outside his room one day, he looked down into the lawn where one of the women was picking flowers for the deity. This is temple, he said. Always something going on. And with each flower picked, she advanced in spiritual life a little more. Prabhupada particularly liked that the Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir was always being expanded and improved. He liked to look out from the veranda and see guests arriving, devotees working, and new plan manifesting. But Prabhupada's ill health persisted. A imbalance of pitta and vayu, wild and air. He said one morning when his servant asked him how he felt, he replied, very bad. But sometime after a very bad morning, he would feel much better. The devotee did not think of Prabhupada's illness in a material way, but it caused them anxiety. Over the year, he had gone through various health crises, and the devotee knew these illnesses were transcendental, directly controlled by Krishna. In 1974, when he had been very ill in Vrindavana, he had said that cause was his disciples, not strictly following the rules and principles of Krishna consciousness. His disciples knew they had to strictly follow his orders if they actually cared for his health. He would go on taking risks, accepting more disciples, traveling and preaching. But his disciples had to avoid acting in ways that would disturb his health. Mostly the devotees preferred to think that Prabhupada's health would soon improve, and Srila Prabhupada himself did not dwell on the subject. He was too absorbed in spreading the Krishna conscious movement. A few days after his arrival, Srila Prabhupada journeyed by car and ferry to Navadipa Srila Pra- uh, to visit the ashrama of his god brother Bhakti Bhakti Raskara Sridhara
Bhakti,
Maharaj.
Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhara Maharaja.
Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. But while walking up these steps, Prabhupada's leg suddenly gave away and he collapsed. Fortunately, Harisori was close enough to catch him. It was the second time Prabhupada had collapsed in less than 2 weeks. Both times he had been actively preaching, and both times he had continued on his way with no mention of what had happened. One morning, just after breakfast, Prabhupada was on his veranda looking out across the land of Mayapur. Turning to Harisori, he said, actually, it does not matter even if I die immediately. I have given the basis of everything. Now, if they simply manage these things nicely and follow whatever program I have begun, then everything will be successful. Harisori was disturbed to hear such a statement and he remained speechless. Then Prabhupada added, but still I would like to finish this Srimad Bhagavatam. Mataji, should I continue?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Danvat pranams, Mataji. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Muthumanikam Prabhuji, would you like to read next, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna. You have to unmute, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
With the Gaurav Purnima only about a week away, thousands of Bengali pilgrims are attending the ISKCON center each night. They streamed into the temple room to Kirtana and Darshana of Radha Madhava and then went to see the ISKCON photo exhibit. It was the biggest and best organized Mayapur festival ever. Despite the opposition in America, Lord Chaitanya's movement was flooding the world. And with the waves of Sankirtana and this gathering of more than 500 devotees from every continent was a powerful testimony to the good health of growing Krishna conscious movement. Rameswara Swami returned with the latest figures of Prabhupada's book production. In the English language alone, Srila Prabhupada had published 43 million 450,000 pieces of literature, and the total production of Prabhupada's books in 23 languages, including Russian, was 55 million 314,000, more than 90% of which had already been distributed. Rameswara also presented Srila Prabhupada with a new book just of the press. The ninth canto, part 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Radha Vallabha reported that the next printing of Bhagavad Gita, as it is, would be so large that the paper required to print it would have to be carried on 76 train cars. Prabhupada and the devotees laughed at the astounding figures. Prabhupada thanked the devotees for their hard work. This is the blessing of my Guru Maharaja. He said he wanted it. And because we were trying to do this, he is giving us all blessings. Srila Prabhupada continued to be very active in encouraging devotees, writing, preaching. Soon after the busloads of devotees arrived, however, he became very ill again. His busy schedule became a strain, but he continued. The GBC man began their annual 3 days of meetings, and each evening they would meet with the Prabhupada. He had their proposals and after making some corrections, approved them. The final item of the GBC list of resolutions was that all ISKCON temples hold 24-hour Kirtana in view of Prabhupada's sickness. The devotees had also done this in 1974 when Prabhupada had been ill. Yes, Prabhupada said when he had the resolution, chanting is the only cure for all diseases. Almost 2 weeks later, while Srila Prabhupada was still in Mayapur, the news of New York court decision appeared on the front page of the Times of India. On receiving it, Tamala Krishna Goswami immediately brought a copy of copy to Prabhupada in his room and Prabhupada's request, read it out loud. Hare Krishna movement is bona fide religion. Washington, March 18. The Hare Krishna movement was called a bona fide religion. Yesterday, by the New York High Court justice who threw out 2 charges against the officials of the movement of illegal imprisonment and attempted extortion. The charge had been prepared by an angry parent to his son that his son, as well as another disciple, had been held by the movement illegally and that they had been brainwashed. The entire and basic issue before the court said the justice is in dismissing the charges is whether the two alleged victims in this case are and the defendants will be allowed to practice the religion of their choice, and this must be answered with a resounding of affirmative, said Mr. Justice John Leahy. The Hare Krishna movement is a bona fide religion with roots in India that go back thousands of years. It behooved Merrill, Grassover, and Edward Shapiro to follow the tenets of the faith, and their inalienable right to do so will not be trampled upon. The separation of church and state must be maintained. We must remain a nation of laws, not a man. The presentment and indictment by the grand jury was in direct and blatant violation of the defendant's constitutional rights. The justice said that this appeared to the court. The people rest their case on an erroneous minor premise to arrive at a fallacious conclusion. The record is devoid of one specific allegation of a misrepresentation or any act of deception on the part of any defendant. The justice said the freedom of religion is not to be abridged because it is unconventional in beliefs and practice, or because it is approved or disapproved by the mainstream of society or more conventional religions. Without this proliferation and freedom to follow the dictates of one's own conscience in this search of approach to God, the freedom of religion will be meaningless, right? As provided for in the Constitution. In the attempt, be indirect, well intentioned or not, presents a clear and present danger to this most fundamental basis and eternally needed right of our citizens, freedom of religion. The Hare Krishna movement has been under pressure from various groups, and this judgment is expected to stop some of the harassment in which it has been subjected in recent months. My
Hare
mission
Krishna,
is now
Prabhuji.
successful. Hare Krishna.
Anurag pronounced Prabhuji. So we'll stop with this here. We will continue with the rest of it tomorrow. All right. So Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much. So we've started chapter 8 and read quite a few. I would request all of you to please go through this and come back for class tomorrow. That will really help. Okay, so that each one of you can quickly share one or two points which you understood. That way we can summarize. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much. Please join again tomorrow, same time, 9:30. So this week we will have class. Next week, mostly classes may not happen from Monday to Thursday because I am going out of station. I will be traveling. So I don't know if I'll have network signal or anything to take class. So next week we may not have class from Monday to Thursday. Friday again I'll be back. So Friday we will have class. So we will see how best we can do. I will text you on the respective dates basis my situation, but till Friday we will have our class. So we will see how much we can finish by Friday. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Thank you,
Krishna,
sir.
Dandavat pranams. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंतकोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय हरे कृष्ण एवरीवन थैंक यू सो मच
Hare
धन्यवाद
Krishna
प्रणाम
Krishna
Mataji.
Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Mataji.